Hey guys, Ken Smith Fishing. So a couple things. Number one, if you are going to submit or if you caught a fish in one of our 10 lakes right at the end of the year for the Sport Fishing Big Bass, please let me know. We want to get these guys paid out, but we don't want to have somebody who has submitted a fish to ShareLunker for approval in one of those lakes and us pay the money out and then find out later somebody else actually caught a bigger fish. So if you've got a fish that you weighed right there in the last month or so that you submitted ShareLunker for one of those 10 lakes Big Fish Awards, please let me know, because we'd like to get this money paid out as quick as we can, but we want to make sure we pay the right guy. Okay, so second thing, I have never sandbagged you guys at all. And you're going to see in this video, I show you guys exactly what I do. And I've got one more day of practice. I'm going to get to practice Friday. I'm going to Jones Trolling Motor tomorrow in Texarkana. We're going to do a couple things there, and then I'm headed to the lake. And I struggled in practice, but number one, there's some stuff I just flat didn't look at because I know if I'm in the area, I'm going to fish it. Number two, I know I can go to the bank and catch, you know, I'm talking to some guys who are like, we're catching the crap out of them. Well, yeah, you can go shallow and catch 8 to 13 or 14 pounds. But I'm at a point where don't get me wrong, I don't want to get a check, but I'm not going down there to try to catch 14 or 15 pounds. I want to try to win. That's just the way I'm wired. I'm interested. I'm as much interested in the trophy as I am the check at this point in my life. I like winning. I like competing to win. So I really spent my time in practice trying to find deep fish. And I say all that to say this. I observed something that now has me going down a rabbit hole. I observed in practice that when I idled a ton of stuff, as you guys have I talked about in the first video and as I did in the second video as well. And by the way, I caught a couple of nice fish in this video. Matter of fact, that the first fish I'm going to catch here, you guys, it's a nice fish. But I stayed on that spot for 2 more hours or an hour and never got another bite, really trying to figure out where those fish had positioned, and I don't know. And what really struck me as odd is I could see some bait and some fish really shallow. I'm going to say really 10 feet or less, but let's call it 16 feet or less. And then as I idled around from 16 feet down to about 24, 25 feet, there's nothing. There's no bait fish. I didn't see predator fish. And I'd like to say I saw a few. I really didn't. But man, once you cross that 26-foot line, bam, there's bait everywhere. There's fish everywhere. And so I know a little bit about fishing, but I don't know technically some of the stuff I probably should know at this stage of my career. And so I reached out to Todd Driscoll and I said, man, there's a big Thermocline out there. And Todd said, yeah, no, you're not seeing a Thermocline. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, there's so much, and by the way, I had read a bunch, and there's so much misinformation about Thermoclines that Todd sent me an article, and I promise I will get it posted as soon as I possibly can to my website. And when I do, and I'll put a link in the description below, I just got to figure out how to get it where you guys can see it. But he said, Thermoclines are really a spring-summer affair, something that we see. And he said they're very predictable at 72 degrees. And I'm going to post that article to him that he talked about. He said, I'm not exactly sure what you saw. He said, but somebody else has reached out to, actually Moonpie had reached out to him the other day. And he said, what that stratification, what you're seeing on your graph right now is most likely a plankton bloom or plankton. So then Todd started talking about how plankton migrate up and down in the water column, largely due to sunlight, but also due to wave action. And he started talking about something I've observed, which is when you're idling really, really early in the morning and you see you're stirring up the plankton. And then he talked about how the plankton scatters at night and how the bait fish then break apart from their schools because they're feeding. And he made me interested in doing a video. So Todd and I are going to get together next week. We're going to complete, or we're going to do the next section of what those Toledo Bend tracking fish did. But then I want to talk to him and I want to do more research on understanding stratification and what's going on in the water. And I want to talk to him more about that plankton thing. I mean, the guy knows, he's a fisheries biologist, right? He knows so much stuff that some of us know. We know some part of it. We absolutely have some part of it wrong. just based on my conversation with him today. So I think we got some really cool stuff coming from more conversations with Todd and maybe some of the folks he works with over at Texas Park and Wildlife at the Jasper Division. So all of that is to say this: I may bomb this weekend, and I may catch them. But my practice was specific, trying to find great big ones, because that's what I want to catch. But I will fall back on catching fish if I need to, going shallow and just catching fish. But I'm going to continue to try to find winning fish Friday and even early Saturday, trying to find winning fish. And then you guys are going to see this progression. You guys have seen me bass fish before. But I really struggled trying to find those big fish in practice. But I was, again, specifically trying to find those big fish. So let's go check out my practice. And we'll come back at the end and we'll close this thing out. And sorry I went so long there, guys.
On the 6th sense ribbon worm. That's a dandy right there. That is a dandy right there. Here real early. Catch him like that. That's on that 6th sense ribbon worm with their new head. It's a wobble style head. That's a solid, man, that fish is chubby. That's a solid, pushing 5 pounds. Very, very nice. Thanks, brother. So it's pretty obvious my frustration grows today. If you look at the front deck, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 13 rods on the deck. But that's not what I picked this thing up to show you. So I'm sorry, I'm powered. Hold on, see if I can fix this. You guys know, of course, there's always a message. If you've never noticed it, in the bottom of my description of every one of my videos, there's a message at the bottom that says, hey, Mr. Bigfoot, I'd love to do a video with you, reach out. And he still hadn't, but you never know. I've never seen a Bigfoot. I've never seen footage that convinced me there's a Bigfoot. I have, there was some footage the other day on Toledo Bend that was creepy, but didn't convince me it was a Bigfoot. I'm like Mulder from the X-Files. I want to believe. But I got to tell you, this is creepy right here, what's on the bank. I'm going to turn the boat so you guys can see this. Now, I don't know what that is, but I'm sure a duck hunter. I can't imagine why a duck hunter would have done that though. But that is a teepee covered in Spanish moss. That's just wigging me out. Whoever did that, good job, because you're wigging me out. That's crazy. I can see these damn fish, and they will not bite. So frustrating. They're right on that break. There's a bunch of them too. There's a bunch of fish right on that break, and they will not bite. They're just swimming around. There's got one to bite. I'm telling you, I was looking at those fish. So crazy. I don't know how much of that y'all could hear in the audio, but I was looking at those fish on that break, and they just swimming around there and they wouldn't bite. That's a solid 2 3/4. And about the time I said I can't get them to bite, that one bit. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So I'm set up on this little point here, throwing a Carolina rig, and I keep getting bites, and I can't get a hook in anything. Matter of fact, I just swung on one and pulled up a scale. So I've got a bait that when you have that happen, you can get it out, and pretty quickly you can figure out what's down there. And here's what happens, and you're going to see this is just ridiculous for basically till I quit doing this. It didn't take long to see what's down there. First drop. Ain't much to him, but I got him. That's what I thought. I was getting bit every drop down there, every drag. And this is a new 6 cents little bladed bait, and it's just a great way. It's like a spoon, but it's easier to cast and fish with. See if I can get it straightened out there. And it's how you can determine real quick what those bites are that you're not catching. And at least that clears that up. But I'm gonna throw in there again. This is when the 12-year-old boy probably needs to get back to bass fishing, but just can't help himself. You know, one of those bites on the Carolina rig actually bit the brush hog, so I have a little bit of hope that there might be a black bass mixed in down there with them. We won't give it many more shots here. Uh-oh, a cast without a bite. They are just rattling. Oh, go. Well, he ripped it and fouled it. You know, the upside to this bait is it doesn't foul while you're fishing it like a traditional, like a Hopkins spoon will. So you actually stay more effective. Now it'll foul when one knocks your snot out of it like that, but just jigging it, it doesn't foul like a jigging spoon does. Oh, that smacked it. Bunch of them right under the boat right there. Wrong species, but it's a better one. Come Right here, catch me a dinner. Look at that, he didn't even eat it. He just slapped at it and got him. I don't know why I'm making them long casts. That picked it up off the bottom.
Okay, so what I didn't talk about in that video is that one spot where I caught all those sand bass was the first spot that I'd idled across, and it was right at that top of that point where I was fishing. I think you heard me say it was 14 or 16 feet deep. That's the deepest I saw any big concentrations of bait fish and fish. And when I idled over it, man, on that Garmin down imaging and side imaging, there was dot, 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 and it was like, okay, there's the mother lode. And I threw that rig out there and bite, 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 bite. And I can't tell you how helpful it was to be able to pick up that little blade bait and throw out there. You saw it, first cast, catch a fish, catch a fish, catch a fish, catch a fish. And I sat on them for a few minutes because I have seen on not just Rayburn, on a lot of lakes, especially on Texoma, where those fish will mix. Dickie Newberry and I sat on a point at Texoma a few years ago, power poles down, throwing even shallower, and caught sand bass, hybrids, stripers, smallmouth, largemouth, and spots. It was unbelievable. And you catch one on each cast. They mix, so I really wanted to make sure there wasn't any largemouth on that spot. I don't think there were right now. But what has probably happened since this cold weather came, Newberry sent me a screenshot. No, somebody else sent me a screenshot. No, I think Dickie sent me a screenshot the other day of his graph, and it was 53, 54 degrees, which is 5 or 6 degrees warmer than it was a week ago. So that's going to cause that plankton to move around. It's going to change some things up. So I'm real curious Friday to turn on my electronics and see what I see. But again, more to come for you guys specific to Thermocline and the plankton bloom and what we see on our electronics that we're misinterpreting, because Todd Driscoll is just a wealth of information, and he's willing to share it if we have the right questions to ask him, and I'm working on the right questions to ask him. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully next week, well, we're going to film with Todd next week, but next week we'll have more Rayburn footage from the BFL Friday practice, BFL Saturday, and then I'm hoping to get out with my friend Noby Joe Lebert on Sunday. If the weather holds up, we're going to get out and fool around a little bit, do a little bit of fun fishing. Noby Joe is one of the best anglers I've ever had in my boat. I started to say lady anglers, and that's not true. She's one of the best anglers I've ever had in my boat. I met her as a co-angler in a red man tournament. That'll tell you how long ago it is. So I'm hoping, and by the way, she was Albert Cohen's partner for a long time. So lady can catch them. So I'm looking forward to getting out with Noby Joe if the weather holds up for us Sunday morning. And probably my buddy Kevin Treese from Oklahoma too. So we may go 3 to a boat. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys again at the latest next Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Dadgummit. Guys, I just realized I'm going to splice this in. One more thing I needed to mention. I posted this on Facebook. Jones Trolling Motor got 20 Mega Imaging Live, Humminbird Mega Imaging Live units in. They may be gone now. They also had some Humminbird head units in. So if you've been looking for one of those, you know, they're rare to find, but they had 20 in stock 2 days ago. We'll be over there tomorrow, and I'll post what I see on Instagram. But if you're interested in that, tomorrow will be when you're watching this, by the way, on Thursday. Check it out. So that's something else I want to mention to you guys. Now I'll say, see you soon.